All right, we're live. Hey, everyone, welcome back. Got a brand new episode from Nerdsters of the Universe. All right, we're back. Been busy as can be. So
yeah,
we've got a lot to catch up on. Next couple weeks, probably going to be a lot of catch up. We'll talk about what we can here, and then continue on with as we can, and hopefully within a few weeks we'll be 100% caught up. So, pizza.
Hey,
long time no see for everybody that's viewing the channel. I'm a long time no see too. So,
yeah, it's been rough. It's been a long, since December.
All right, yeah, lots happened since December. Let's see. We've got Spider-Man: No Way Home, freaking epic.
We had the end of Discovery, all of Picard, the new Strange New Worlds.
Card made me cry. Strange New Worlds, Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, Moon Knight.
Moon Knight was good, yeah. The Batman,
and the newest entertainment of the pop culture world, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
Oh yeah, we've been watching that. I was thinking I was going to buy the Justice for Johnny T-shirt, but I thought, you know what? I'm never going to wear it, and it's just going to be, $30. You can't see over there.
Yeah, and if anything, you could always just make your own.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yep. Valve's in the chat. Yeah, we can play with backgrounds now, and I was like,
yeah, what? I know. I got to figure that out.
I wanted to have the Starship background, so I got the Starship background. I did what I could do, and I did it. All right, so we will get to the Depp Heard trial, everyone. Yeah. There's a lot to cover in there. There's a lot to cover in everything. So I think today is just going to be a really good catch-up, talk a little bit about it, pick and choose which aspects we want to dive deeper into. Right. Amber Heard trial's not over yet, or the Depp Heard trial's not over yet. So
D-Nick!
What's up, buddy? Long time no see.
Hey.
So we'll touch base on that later, because I mean we still have another week of testimonies. And then, however long the jury decides they need to take to go over a month's worth of evidence.
Just from watching some of the clips, like you could see when the jury's like falling asleep when like her attorneys are up there, and then all of a sudden Depp's attorney gets up for either questioning or crossing or redirecting or whatever. And you can see they wake up and pay attention a little more, but
that's not the jury. That's just audience. The jury's not allowed to be on camera.
Oh, okay.
There's been reports of the jury from lawyers that I'm in contact with that they mapped out the. You can see it on, I think, on Law and Lumber's channel too. That they mapped out. These lawyers went to the trial and they mapped out the expressions. Like people are falling asleep during the trial. And then they're waking up when certain things are happening. The video depositions are killing them. It's putting everybody to sleep.
I think the video depositions are killing everybody.
Yeah.
But no, I know there's reports of what the jury's doing. I just wanted to clarify that there's no video.
Right, you can't see them yet.
Yeah. They can report on what they see. But yeah, it's to protect the jury. I mean, there's because you got, especially in a high-profile case like this, where you've got such a following. I mean, hashtag, the whole hashtag Justice for Johnny and hashtag Amber, all of it. Both sides are going to have people that are extremely passionate about it. And the last thing we need is people utilizing that to go after family and friends and try to just be evil people, because we know they're out there.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over you, but I have concern for the jurors because they are not allowed to know what is going on social media. It was brought into court a little bit today, but they don't know what's going on. So odds are, I have a feeling they're going to not find for anybody. No one's going to win. They're just going to dismiss both cases because the jurors do not know a lot of what we know.
Well,
what they touched base on today, real quick. I don't want to ignore chat. Hey, Val,
Yeah.
D-Nick says hi. For anyone who doesn't know, if you're watching this on the replay, that's Valerie. That's Pizza's wife. And if you heard some crazy lady yell in the background, "Hi, D-Nick!" That's my wife crashing. Hi, Pizza.
Yeah.
She says that anytime I come home with pizza too. So, but what they talked about today in the trial, that social media situation is pre-trial social media. That deposition was taken before the trial officially started.
Yeah.
And so that was talking about all of the social media stuff that happened during the UK trial and post UK trial. Now, I've talked to people about this, friends, family. One thing that the jury's got to be confused after the week hiatus, because Amber goes in and does her testimony, still being questioned by her lawyer, and then all of a sudden, you get a week hiatus, and it comes back, and for no explanation to the jury, they are touching base on everything that's going on in social media. All the Amber's never played a guitar. Oh, she's got a video of her playing guitar. Whether she's faking it or not, she's playing with the guitar. So they wanted to touch base on that. The pictures, everything that real time has been criticizing. When the week hiatus was over, her team jumped in and started adjusting to that.
Yeah.
And so in my eyes, I'm looking at a jury sense going, that's got to be weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be,
like spending the time going, they're spending time going, what are you talking about? What are they doing,
And they're not dumb. They're putting two and two together. They're sitting there, when they're talking about it amongst themselves, because they can't talk to but they can talk about it amongst themselves. That's the point. They're sitting there going, something had to have happened in the outside world right now.
Yeah.
People called them out on their lies.
Yeah.
It's got the fact, I feel like the fact that they went back and touched base on those situations.
I think that killed them a little bit. That hurt them a little bit.
I think it hurt them. If they were worried about Depp's team getting to it and cross, then yes, then you bring those about and redirect. And at that point, you're not making it look like you're doing some magic fix to a problem no one knows about.
Yeah.
You're fixing a problem that came up in court. It's a lot similar to today, where they played all these depositions. They're playing them all with the redactions, basically. If they're questioning, in a deposition, if the other lawyer objects, if there's any disagreements, arguments, stuff like that, where approach the judge, see, stuff like that, all that would be cut, and only the questions and allowed answers would be played. But for some reason, when they were questioning Depp's lawyer from the UK trial, they did not, Amber's team made it a point to not cut the objections. And some people may look at that and go, oh, well, it being difficult. I look at it and go, that seems kind of shady why they didn't cut those objections.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're trying to make it look like they're being difficult. And then I would also look at that and go, this sounds like the whole plan they've been having since 2012, 2013 is take these situations and try to twist them to your advantage.
Yeah.
And D-Nick, I want to real quick respond to your question from earlier. More excited for Obi-Wan or Jurassic Park? I am equally excited for both. I think I'm more excited for Jurassic Park to air than I am Obi-Wan to air. And I think it's because when Jurassic Park comes out, I get to go watch it, enjoy it, and savor in it, and move on. Obi-Wan's a TV series, so I'm excited for it to come out, but I'm more excited for the end of it to come out because I want to be able to just take it all in. I know we grew up on the week-to-week thing, with the summers off of what we got to watch, and was fine and all, but I'm falling slave to the binge mentality. I start losing interest sometimes if I've got to wait so long. And it's not so much lose interest; it's life is busy as all heck. And like before we started the live, Pizza was like, "Oh yeah, Strange New Worlds today." I'm like, "Oh crap, Strange New Worlds is all." I was like, "It freaking aired! I forgot it aired." I mean, it just threw me off. So
yeah, I've been. That's the one I
caught up on that one.
That's the one I was waiting for since they announced it back at season 2 of Discovery. You know, the Captain Pike series that they were going to have. I've been waiting for that one. I'm kind of excited for Obi-Wan, but then again, I was excited for Boba Fett too, and that kind of, I think they dropped the ball a little bit with Boba Fett until they added the Mandalorian to it. The last few episodes of it.
Were we doing videos with Book of Boba Fett? Can't remember.
We the last one we did was in December. Because and then I watched the Santa video you guys did.
Yeah.
On Crashly's channel.
Well, we can talk about Book of Boba Fett too.
I don't think I think that was in January that came out.
Yeah, I loved Book of Boba Fett. We were talking about everything. Why would you say that?
What's that?
She's being abusive to me.
Uh-oh.
I need to go write an op-ed.
Yeah, I started out liking Boba Fett like the first episode or two. Then it started to look like it was falling off a bit to where all of a sudden they added the Mandalorian to it, and then it just became the Book of Boba Fett plus the Mandalorian.
And people, I respect your opinion, Pizza. And people have said this situation numerous times. But I have read many of books that have done this situation and that have done this formula. You have a book that you're reading, and you've got your main characters of the book.
Yeah.
And there are other characters that are involved in the book.
Yeah.
And you've got your main plot, your main story. And it to a certain point in the book, as you're reading, you come across a chapter that takes you away to something else going on, introducing a different character that was not really in the beginning of the book. But when you read that, and then it brings you back, and now it all flows together because that character was in the final chapter and stuff. And it is called the Book of Boba Fett, and each episode is a chapter. So the entire season is the book, and it is the Book of Boba Fett. From beginning to end, the story is mainly Boba Fett's story. However, they did need to take a chapter to touch base on a situation to allow for the final act, the final chapter, to make sense.
I just for a while there, it just seemed like it was falling off a bit for me. I mean, I've read books where a couple chapters start to fall off, and then they bring it back a little bit. But
yeah, I never, as far as falling off, it did. Expectations would have been high for everybody. It's Boba Fett. They're expecting Mandalorian. That's the thing. They were expecting Mandalorian. Here's where my situation. I love Book of Boba Fett. I want another season. I really do. Now, as far as what I loved about it, I loved the story. I loved the characters. I loved the development of characters. How they paid attention to moving it, having it be character driven. It felt like you were actually involved in what was going on with the characters. Now, yes, that can be dreary sometimes. That can be slow because you're focusing on characters and not events. Right? Now, I love that. I love, as D-Nick said, Skywalker and Grogu being in it, and Ahsoka, yeah. That whole interaction, just overall, and the battles, the fight scenes, with the exception of one, I really, really enjoyed. Now, at the same time, I'm not just going to talk it up and be like, "Ooh, Book of Boba Fett, my favorite, move on." No, there are issues I have with it, right? One of the biggest things a lot of people talk about is, Obi-Wan Kenobi aged pretty far for only being 20 years on Tatooine, going from Ewan McGregor to Sir Alec Guinness's book.
Yeah.
And, they talk about, Uncle Owen, Owen Lars, aged pretty hard for being how he looked at the end of episode 3 to episode
4, yeah.
4. And at the same time, it's like, okay, you're now releasing this. I understand you're working on Obi-Wan Kenobi, but you're now releasing this TV series on Boba Fett, starring Tamura Morrison, the guy who played Jango Fett, as well as the clones, and voiced Boba Fett in the Blu-ray remasters of Jedi.
Yeah.
Empire
and Jedi.
Well, did Boba have any lines in Jedi?
He just screamed and fell into the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, I don't think he had any lines, so I don't know if he got credit for. I don't know if he voiced that scream. Now, the situation being, it's been 20 years since he's played a 40-something. Tomorrow, the guy's 60.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett's 40. The dude don't look 40. Fennec Shan's character is around 57, the same age as the actress who plays her. Now, what got me was they tried to state it was the Sarlacc pit that made him look the way he was.
Yeah.
The Sarlacc pit made him gain weight and age. With me, with just going, I like to look more at visual media instead of written media when it comes to canon, in a sense.
Yeah.
I understand you can have the extended universe. You can have, the new canon extended universe. Legend. With me, if it has not been released in visual film format, like whether it be a cartoon, TV show, or movie, to me, I feel that leaves the ability to open. All the books and comics and all of that material, to me, is immaterial to me. They can do whatever they want with it, but it's not. They can pull aspects from it. I'm not a diehard. This book has this on chapter 3 on page 26 down line 3. That's what he said, not what they've had. I don't go with all that.
Right.
So the way I look at it is, just in the movie sense, a droid is not a liar, especially a protocol droid.
Yeah.
So when C-3PO states that they will be digested over 1,000 years, he's not embellishing. Yes, he is quoting Jabba the Hutt, but at the same time, 3PO's mentality would have him go, that's not right. Because he likes to correct.
Yeah.
He's a protocol droid. So based on that aspect, then I would assume, okay, the Sarlacc pit is sort of like a parasitic style stomach, to where organic beings that do go into them, so they don't decompose over this time period, will somewhat be sustained, like in a suspended coma type thing. And it may take, in my mind, it would take a point for it to happen. Sort of like how a spider would paralyze a victim in its web to be able to wrap it and preserve it. It's got a preservation. That's how it eats. That's how it preserves its food, so it can sustain life off of it for so long. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, Boba Fett's a badass. He's able to fight the paralytic, and that is why he is in pain. He's had this poison in him. Get that. But they had a perfect opportunity to show that in just 5 years, along with the issue, or along with him being the Sarlacc pit, that he has aged so long, the way he has, being out in the desert with the Sand People for 5 years.
Right.
They had an opportunity to go, life on Tatooine will make you age.
Yeah.
And it just, I felt like they missed that opportunity. They kept trying to play off that it was a long time, like when Boba Fett goes back into the Sarlacc pit to try to find his armor or something. And he goes, this is where I fell into the Sarlacc pit. all those years ago. Dude, that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years.
But I don't drive to work going, and this is where I came to work here all those years ago. I feel like it's so long. Let's say that. 5 years is 5 years. It's like they almost, like in their heads when they wrote that line, they're like, yeah, he's like 20 years older, so it was so long ago. It's only been 5 years now. That was issue 1. Sorry, that was a long-winded issue. Yeah. Issue 2 is the first fight that Boba Fett gets into. He's not a fan of it. He comes out, they get ambushed, he gets the crap beat out of him, and gets rushed off to the base to take.
Yeah.
It would be different if that's the first fight we had seen Boba Fett get into ever since he went into the Sarlacc pit. But no, we've been shown that when he was with the Tusken Raiders, he fought pretty hardcore then.
Yeah.
And when he went to help Mando, he fought pretty hardcore then. So why all of a sudden is he getting the crap beat out of him and having to fly up to the tank to eat?
Yeah.
There
was. I mean, it's some of it just went like it started like it was going to go really good, and then it cut off and dropped to me. It just, I don't know, most of the episodes, but
and the slow motion bike chase that was annoying. But I can get past it. I love the show. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
So
and then we had
Cad Bane was amazing. D-Nick Cad. Oh, I want.
They did that really good.
Yes, but I want Hondo to show up so bad in one of these shows. Oh man. Oh, and this is the other thing. I really felt they messed up a little bit here in the style. I think they had an opportunity for a better style. It felt like they didn't know what style to use with the show. They were piggybacking off Mandalorian, with Mandalorian being that space western, the Firefly of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everybody's going to hate me. They did it better than Firefly did. it felt a lot more western. I mean, it had a lot of that, a lot of different western, like, heavy influence on it.
Yeah.
And when they did Book of Boba Fett, it's like they felt like they needed to try to continue that western part, but it doesn't work so well with the story they were going after. You're not having this lone nomad and lone wolf and cub style story going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand. Okay, well, they do have an opportunity to try to make it somewhat of a Tombstone style. But the situation is you're on Mos Eisley. We've already seen what a Wild West style town would look like.
Yeah.
In Mandalorian on Tatooine, this is supposed to take place in what would be considered a city run by gangsters. So in my eyes, I'm like, I get what they were doing, but I think it would have been a lot easier for the writers, and I feel like it would have flowed a lot better and not had those ups and downs. And I think what the ups and downs were is not being able to stick with the style of storytelling they were trying to stick with as well.
I was thinking they should have did it like a 20s gangster type move, But they had all the
I'm thinking they should have done it more of a Godfather style.
Yeah, like the gangster type thing.
Yeah, just dive straight into gangster noir style filming and pull from that. And it would have been a beautiful. And then when you bring in the Western situation, that would have meshed so interestingly and beautiful, because at that point, the last 2 episodes, you basically have this sci-fi gangster Western, and it would just be epic.
Yeah, because they could have had, with all the gangsters at the end in the last couple episodes, that could have been like the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in Chicago, with all the gangsters coming out and riddling everybody up.
Oh, yeah, they had so many options. Sorry, guys. We ended up going on live late because I had an issue with my car at work. Ashley had to come pick me up, which is an hour away from the house, so I didn't get home until about 9 o'clock, and I hadn't eaten yet. So you might see me take a bite or two.
Yeah.
Now, but yeah. But, oh, God, I loved Book of Boba Fett for what it was. Again, everything's got its flaws. Go back and watch the original trilogy.
Yeah. All right. So, what did you think of Spider-Man then? The No Way Home.
No Way Home. It was
Robbie's jumping around.
Epic. I just loved it. I mean, I'm sad about the fate of Doc Ock. That's sad.
Yeah.
His fate saddens.
I was more mad about Aunt May.
I was sad about Aunt May, but it was a nice little twist.
Yeah.
I like. There was what people were considering a what? Tell me what was book route.
Okay, can I tell you?
Yes, tell me what was book route. You keep chiming in.
Oh, excuse me. Do I need to pay for time or something? Anyway,
Yeah.
it's bullcrap that Peter spent all this time promising his girlfriend that no matter whatever happens, I will come back and won't forget, and I promise this and that, and she's like, I'm never gonna be, I don't know. And then things happen, and he wants him to do it because he promised, and he just doesn't do it. So I think he's a little candy spider guy.
He gets so close to doing it, and then as soon as he sees the wound on his face, he remembers the danger and everything that was in there. But it also seeing how happy she is.
That's him playing God at that point.
No, that's him going ahead. There's no guarantee it would work. There's no guarantee that him telling her everything would make her go okay or go, what? Police, there's a guy here saying he's Spider-Man.
Like we'll do like Kurt, like you usually do, Kerwin, when they zoomed in on the wound on her eye. It's like the whole cinematic thing. Like they showed all this, like, oh, he wants to keep her out of danger. He really loves her, and the whole symbolic thing, and so he just left it alone, you know?
Yeah, and my favorite part about that whole situation, as far as the ending goes, honestly, I'm like, Michelle Jones is out of the picture? Sweet. Now let's have Peter go to college and meet her sister, Mary Jane Watson, or his cousin, Mary Jane Watson. We get Michelle Jones out of the picture. Let's bring the real MJ in. If they had said her name was Mary Jane Watson, I don't care who plays her, it would have been Mary Jane. I'd have been happy. Zendaya is an amazing actress, and she'd have pulled it off beautifully. I'd have been happy with that. But changing it to Michelle Jones, I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah, it didn't work for me.
And that was the thing I had with the Amazing Spider-Man movie. Everybody's like, oh no, when Gwen Stacy died. I watched the first one going, okay, cool, Captain Stacy's going to die. People are like, what? Oh. And I watched the second one. Gwen Stacy's going to die. And they're like, oh no, Gwen Stacy. I'm like, it's okay. She dies and he gets with MJ. This is how the story progresses, people.
When we saw it.
They do this one and they're like, yeah, he's with MJ, but her name's Michelle Jones Watson. No, it's not.
We saw it at the theaters, and the part where his little sidekick dude, oh my God, why can't I remember the kid's name?
Ned?
Yeah. Don't worry, Ned.
Don't
worry, Peter. I won't turn around and try to kill you. And some guy in the front of the theater, I looked at Robbie and said, well, we should read the comics, shouldn't we? But some guy in the front of the theater yells, read the comics! You know? And yelled, we're like, me and Robbie are both shaking our head going, you're Hobgoblin, dude. We know.
You're Hobgoblin, man. And that was the other thing. I'm like, that does open up for Ned to become Hobgoblin.
Yep.
He goes to MIT. You know, it opens up for so much. And a lot of people know me and know my relationship with the Spider-Man comics is I despised One More Day.
Mm-hmm.
Despised it.
I can see that.
To where I legitimately stopped reading Spider-Man after One More Day. I was done. And this is an adaptation of One More Day, and I didn't despise it, which tells me one thing. I'm Team Mary Jane.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm Team Mary Jane Watson.
The only thing
Watson and Peter Parker together forever, that's me. You split them up in the comics, I'm done. You change her to Michelle Jones, I'm like, I don't care if Peter doesn't stay with her because it's not Mary Jane Watson.
Yeah.
Like, that's his soulmate. That's who they're supposed to. I know.
My whole thing was, at the end of the big fight, he still had his Iron Spider suit, and it was still okay. But then he changed his whole suit again at the end, and just made some little homemade suit.
It's evolution, and the way
guess.
one. I don't care why they changed it. John Romita's suit on the big screen. I'm getting goosebumps remembering the scene of seeing that. When he jumps out and he's wearing that classic John Romita.
Yeah, the classic suit, yeah.
Red and blue. Oh, I was like this is the way it ended. I'm like,
it was good.
I'm finally going to get Spider-Man. I'm finally going to get Spider-Man. I loved Raimi's movies. Yeah. I really loved Raimi's movies. But it had its issues. And I loved the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
That had a lot of issues.
They had their issues.
Yeah.
And I loved the new Spider-Man movies. But they have their issues. One of my biggest issues with high school Spider-Man. Oh, yeah, well, Peter was a high schooler in the comics.
Not forever.
40 issues of minimal storyline. The gritty, nitty-gritty stuff didn't happen until after he left high school. And now that we're actually, like, the fact that he's not with Michelle Jones. my Peter Parker was never with a Michelle Jones. And now we've got John Romita's suit on him, and he's out of high school, and there's a Venom symbiote floating around out there.
The after credit scene with Venom.
And he's living in this little, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And you know what I want? A lot of people were saying, oh yeah, well now they can bring Gwen Stacy in. They could bring Gwen Stacy in.
Why don't we bring Mary Jane in?
They could bring Mary Jane in. I honestly would be just fine if they say Michelle Jones is Mary Jane. Deal with it. We changed her name. In this universe, she was named Michelle Jones, not Mary Jane. I get that. I'm fine with it. But I still had a disconnect there because of that. I'm perfectly fine with that. And they can have her go back. But honestly, what would be amazing is if Felicia Hardy were Peter's next love interest. They've had a love interest in the comics, hardcore.
Yeah.
Especially after One More Day. And I think it would add a new dynamic. We wouldn't have to. We're not getting Peter Parker with Mary Jane, which we've had 3 movies of.
Yeah, it's not rehashing all the old stuff.
We're not getting Peter Parker with Gwen Stacy, who we know dies. Mm-hmm. She dies, guys. She dies.
Spoilers,
And yes, we got Michelle Jones, but that's Mary Jane again, because you're doing Mary Jane. She's a Watson and she's MJ Watson.
Right.
So now we can get Peter. I believe if they went with Felicia Hardy, we would get Spider-Man, Peter Parker, love interest with another superhero, which we really don't have that in the MCU. We don't have that dynamic in the MCU. Yes, Pepper put on the Ironheart suit armor, and she has fought alongside, but she wasn't known as a superhero.
Right.
She wore Iron Man costume to fight at the end of Iron Man 3, and then she didn't adorn a costume again until Endgame. And It's safe to say, because now she's a single mom, she's not going to go fighting off Iron Man. I would say
I think when it comes to fandoms, you're never going to make everyone happy, especially when there is so much canon and you want to write something new. You're going to have to change something. Otherwise, you're just going to be retelling the story again with different actors and actresses.
And I'm the first one to admit I'm terrible with it. I'm like a purist of my time. You know what I mean? I saw when I was younger, I'm terrible with that. I'll admit it.
But there's many generations that have their version of the movies, of the comics, of the TV shows.
But I'm at that age where this stuff was starting to come
to
a little more when I was younger, like the 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And a big situation where Spider-Man hinders from that and Batman hinders from it too is we're not talking like King Kong where a version will come out in the 30s and then you won't see another version again until the 60s with the crappy sequel in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then wait another 30, 40 years for another version of King Kong to come out. It just felt like in the 20th century, remakes had space between them.
Yeah.
But it just feels like now it's, that's not working. We need to do a remake right now. I mean,
remake, reboot,
Baseballs 2, The Search for More Money.
Yeah. Remake, reboot,
and not just like more money in general. Just I understand they go, we need to go a different direction because what we're doing isn't really working anymore. And Spider-Man's an idea like that. They knew the Amazing Spider-Man movies weren't gaining the traction they hoped they would. But it's really weird. It's interesting to look at this and go, okay, we've got Spider-Man in the MCU. We've had Spider-Man in the MCU in Captain America: Civil War, Avengers Endgame, or Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, as well as 3 Spider-Man movies. We've had 6 Spider-Man movies in the MCU. And you sit down and watch the MCU, and you understand how that flows.
Yeah.
And it's a new Spider-Man from the last one that came out. The last one that came out the same time that Iron Man did, which is the first MCU movie. So there's not hardly any time there. Yeah, there's like 10 years, but at the same time, it didn't feel like it because of the way that things were flowing.
Mm-hmm. That was the one thing I could say Marvel did really well, is they made all their movies connect. They were all the same universe, the same timeline, the same, whereas Batman threw out, here's Wonder Woman, here's, Shazam, here's this, here's that. And then Justice League came out, and there was only the 3 of them. It cut 3 or 4,
I like the multiverse idea too, because that covers a lot of sins of people liking this version, that version. It kind of makes room for all of the versions.
Yeah, you could tell who the fans were when the Spider-Man came out of them, Andrew Garfield, and then,
And yes, Marvel did it first in theaters, but gotta give DC, they did it first. DC beat Marvel to it in visual media. Animation.
They did it really well.
With their CW shows, they did that multiverse thing beautifully with Crisis of Infinite Earths. But
not supposed to.
But no, I loved the multiverse aspect. I loved the redemption. I love that our old Spider-Man actors, the ones, and that's the big thing too, is there has been time. It's been 20 years since over 20 years since Sam Raimi's Spider-Man came out.
Yeah.
So there was time in between these. When I talk to people, they're like, oh yeah, when I was a kid and I saw Spider-Man in theaters, and these are adults I'm talking to, I'm like, you were a kid and you saw, oh my God, I'm turning 40 in a week, Like, I was an adult when Spider-Man came out. I've been an adult through all these. It's just one of those things that they saw this Spider-Man when they were a kid, and they saw this Spider-Man when they were a teenager, and now they've got this new Spider-Man when they're an adult, and they get all that nostalgia from being a kid. And I'm like, I'm an adult through all these. It just feels like they're so cramped up to me. But I understand to other people, it doesn't feel that way. It does feel like it's been so long ago.
Yeah.
That it was there.
Tia! Yeah, there was just so much in the movie that I liked. Especially when they're like, hey, do you have a spider suit or are you just like a cool youth pastor? To Tobey Maguire. It was really cool.
I was extremely disappointed. And I don't know if maybe it's on the 4K Blu-ray. So I don't have a 4K Blu-ray player. I bought the 4K Blu-ray, but I don't have neither here nor there. There is a deleted scene out there that either they didn't film or they just haven't shown it. It's not on the Blu-ray. I want to see, I don't care if they give it to me in storyboard mode, I want to see Tobey Maguire's original introduction into the show, into the movie. Because he was there before that.
Huh.
And like, I don't understand why they wouldn't change the script if it wasn't a filmed scene. If they cut it before filming, why not change the script to reflect that scene didn't happen?
Huh.
Ned goes, I just wish we could talk to Peter.
Yeah.
Boom! Andrew Garfield shows up in the theaters.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, who are you guys? Who are you? I'm Peter Parker, Spider-Man. No, you're not. Let's throw rolls at him. Hilarious scene. I mean,
that was great.
Okay, guys. And then it's like, oh, okay, now let's find out where Peter is. I just want to talk to Peter.
Tobey Maguire.
Theater.
Everybody lost their mind.
But at this point, the interaction in the film is not, who are you? It's, hey, you. Oh, you guys. Wait, he's not your friend. I was trying to find you guys to help out. Wait, what? Hold on.
Yeah, they left a whole lot out of that.
When did this interaction happen, guys? Like, I went back to the theaters and watched it again, and the sole thing I was doing when I went back to watch it again is go, all right, where's this interaction? Come on. Where's he hiding out in the background thing? I'm like, this is like a Mysterio at the airport thing that I've got to sit here and dissect.
Yeah.
And find out. And I couldn't find him. Did it on the Blu-ray. I can't find him anywhere earlier on in the movie. So where's that interaction? Like, where's that scene that has MJ, Ned, and Peter, all three together, outside on the street area after the spell goes crazy?
Yeah.
It's not there. Because Tobey Maguire's Peter ran into him.
Somewhere.
It's there. He recognized them. They recognized him.
That's probably when they're
trying to find your friend. Like with his experience, he knew that was Peter type thing. It's like that was him from another universe in a sense. Like, he understood some of the situations that was going on, and I'm just like, I want that scene.
I think it's going to be in the, how they always do later on, the super version, director's extended, whatever cut, they'll have it all in there. But all right, so let's go from Marvel to DC.
Well, there was one
How
more
about
thing
the
I
Batman?
wanted to talk about. Sorry.
What?
I don't mean to hijack it completely. One more thing I want to talk about. No Way Home.
Okay, go ahead.
The redemptions that Maguire's Peter got his redemption.
Oh yeah.
And Amazing Spider-Man's Peter. I can't the actor.
Andrew Garfield.
Garfield's Peter got his redemption. Garfield was hung up that he couldn't save Gwen.
Yeah.
And he was able to save MJ when she fell, and he's like, oh, weight lifted off the shoulder. And if you remember in Spider-Man 3, when Peter's talking to Harry, he tells him, my greatest regret is that I couldn't save your father. I could not keep him from turning evil. I couldn't save him from dying. Like, that's why, even when he didn't want people to know, even though somehow they found out because Doc Ock knew the whole situation and Sandman said it was all over the news, but Harry didn't find out till Spider-Man 3, plot hole, whatever. Peter still took Norman to, his loft and let him type like that. And the fact that he was able to save Norman from getting stabbed by his glider.
Right.
And they were able to save them all, except for Doc Ock, who still dies.
Yeah. Well.
But it is. He does. Norman finds out Peter's Spider-Man before the fight in the graveyard.
Yeah.
That's why Norman kidnaps Mary Jane. Sandman finds out Peter's Spider-Man before he flies off. I don't even think he really died. I never took his flying off as him dying. I just felt he was stuck with Sandman. Doc Ock finds out Peter is Spider-Man. And within seconds of going, wait, what? You're Spider-Man? Like it gets control, takes down the thing, and dies because it's the only way to do it. So that means when he was pulled from his timeline of the universe, his reactor's going nuclear. So when he gets put back, I'm cured, I'm good. Oh, shit. You know?
Yeah.
All the other ones can be saved. And then some people were trying to say plot hole about, oh, well, but you can't change the past. No, that is in the MCU's universe.
Yeah.
There are different universes. There are different aspects. You haven't seen Multiverse of Madness, so I don't want to spoil anything, but just to give a hint, when they are going through the universes, they go through a universe that is completely paint. Mm-hmm. So obviously, the laws of physics differ for universes. and the hinting of having Quicksilver from Fox's X-Men universes into WandaVision would, and then doing this whole universe thing would hint that it's possible to play that, and they open the door with doing the Spider-Man. At that point, we could say, okay, well, then there's obviously a universe where going back and inhabiting your body in the past allows you to change the past for your future, for your present, from days of future past. So that aspect I was fine with, but I just felt it was sad that out of all of it, Doc Ock.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from Spider-Man.
Yeah, we got to go with Batman. Batman.
We're not skipping Batman, Tia.
We cannot skip Batman, Tia. No way.
Why would Tia? I just got to know why would we skip Batman? Why?
Noob.
Oh, don't skip over Batman. Okay. No, we're not. We're not skipping Batman.
Yeah, we're not skipping Batman.
We're not skipping Batman.
I'm the DC one. I can't skip Batman.
Yeah. Robert, I'll let you take this one away. You do your thing with it, and then when you're ready for my input, I'll put it.
Yeah, we kind of touched on it a little bit last night on the phone. I liked it. I liked the Batman. I think the director kind of did good in some spots, and I think he kind of pulled it out in other spots. But the way they gave him presence in the show, I think we lost Kerwin for a minute. But just the way they had him slow motion going into the club, and just the angles they got with it, they really pulled it off. And everybody said, "Oh no, Batman's not like that. He doesn't have he's got a problem with killing. He doesn't do." It was supposed to be a new Batman, like year 2. You know, he was only the second year as Batman, so he was still
learning,
finding his way into things. He was still coming into the cowl, so to speak. So, yeah, you know, I think he kind of made it. The gadgets were great. I loved he wasn't loaded down. He had a bunch of stuff on his utility belt, but it wasn't like Christian Bale's thing where they had him looking like he was 400 pounds and could barely move. You know, the Bat B12 shot, it's adrenaline shot. And I love the Batmobile scene where that thing just came out of the dark, you know. And we have to say Zoe Kravitz for Catwoman. Sorry, Val.
I'm not leaving, guys. I'm just letting Robert have the spotlight for right now. I'm taking a few bites of food.
And I can always tell when Kerwin's there, and I can tell when we have a little, like he's got something to add to it, or like, where his, like you look at it from the film school thing, and I just look at it from the DC nerd thing, and I just think it was really good. The Penguin, I'm used to Burgess Meredith in the cartoon, like the animated series. I thought he was a good gangster villain, but it took me a minute to get with him as Penguin. They kind of did the way they did it, all roughed up and everything. Falcone and Maroni, those two characters they kept hinting to. I wasn't crazy about the way the Joker's, or the Riddler's character I liked, but I didn't like the way they had the whole costuming thing for him. You know what I mean? Like, I think the costumer went a little overboard with that. But everything else, I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, they didn't. I think they was kind of, the people were calling it like a little plot hole with all the other Batman movies. They all had the dark makeup around the eyes. This one, they just kind of showed it when he took the cowl off. It was there, like,
And then people turn around and be like, it's emo Batman. No, all Batmans have makeup around the eyes because you look weird when you don't have that. You got, like, you're a white guy in a black mask.
Yeah.
It's going to shine through.
I mean, granted, sometimes he was a little too broody for me. like they went a little too overboard with the with between him and Alfred. But like I said, we've never seen a year two Batman. They've always been established.
Batman Begins is closest we can get to it.
Huh?
Batman Begins is what I would say is closest we can get to it, because I don't say, like, when you look back at Batman Begins, the thing about Nolan's Batman films, with the exception of Dark Knight,
the
first one and the second one take place over a long period of time.
Right.
Like, there's no way of saying, Bale's Batman could have literally been Batman for 6 months to almost a year by the time Ra's al Ghul actually showed up.
Right.
To do what he was going to do. Because, I mean, he had time to design suits, build the back, get all of that together. That doesn't happen in a week. Even if you're a billionaire, you're not going to let it happen because you're the only one doing it with your butler.
Yeah.
He is in the chat testifying over here to her feelings on Batman.
Oh yeah, Tia's definitely showing her thing there.
Oh yeah, love the Alfred aspect. They did try to add some gut for Penguin.
Oh my God!
All right,
Robbie just said for the sequel he wants Robin in the thing, but he said Robin should be Taylor Lautner, so it should be Team Jacob and Team Edward again.
They keep saying they're wanting to put Robin in the sequel.
Yeah, Robin was introduced in like year 2 or year 3, so it makes sense.
Somewhere, but I mean,
yeah, but you can't have, like, what are you gonna do? De-age Taylor Lautner to look like he's 13?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, to have a 20-something-year-old Batman with a 20-something-year-old Robin just doesn't work.
I think he was just doing it as a joke, like Taylor Lautner.
It's a joke. I know. I know it was a joke. We got to nerd it out sometimes too, though, and be like,
yeah,
well, actually.
And then which one are we going to use? Dick Grayson. You got Dick Grayson. You got Damian Wayne, but that's later.
I'm saying either Dick Grayson or I think his name's Carey.
Carey was long. Technically, Carey was supposed to be long after.
I know.
Because the Jim Lee Batman was like way far ahead where he was on his way out.
So. To be 100% honest, what I would like to see in a sequel to The Batman is The Batman is an amazing year 2 story. A little long, about 30 minutes too long, and you don't ever hear me say a movie's too long.
Yeah.
That movie was too long. They stretched it out pointlessly. I literally fell asleep 3 times. The way I was falling asleep, I guess I must have been all doped up on drugs and stuff because I was nodding off. But no, it was just some pointless plot that dragged it out too long. But a good sequel to The Batman, what I would like to see is I would like to see maybe 2 or 3 years after the fact. Don't come out and release another Batman sequel next year.
Right.
Do it like Star Wars did. Wait about 3 years. Release another one. And have it take place about 3 years later. And what I would like is not so much of a weird... I don't want a 35, 40-year-old Batman taking in a 12, 13-year-old Dick Grayson.
The grooming conversation would come up.
Yeah.
What I would like to see is, assuming that Pattinson's Batman's probably about 23, 24 in The Batman.
Yeah, he looks like he's in his 20s somewhere.
I'm going to say mid-20s. I would like something along the lines of perhaps you've got this Batman that is in his late 20s, let's say 28, 29, and then he sees this kid who's going through what he went through, but not really a kid, someone who's more like 15, 16 years old, a lot like how Dick Grayson was supposed to be in Batman Forever.
Kind of, yeah.
But not like someone who looks like they're 30 playing a kid. Like a 15, 16-year-old thing.
Yeah.
A legitimate, 15, 16-year-old. So it's not so much of a, is this a guy, more of a kindred spirit, I can relate to you situation, I'm taking you under my wing, I'm like your mentor thing.
Yeah.
But allows for more of a friendship style mentality. and have that be Robin. And I would like for it to be like and it don't make the whole movie a Robin origin story. We don't need a Robin origin story. We know Robin's origin. But have it be that situation that somehow in like between year 2 or by year year 3, a 25-year-old Batman befriended a 25-year-old Bruce Wayne had this situation saw this situation and befriended a 15/16-year-old Dick Grayson. Not in a weird way, but just in a I understand, I'm here to help you. We can be more friends than we can anything else because there's not that big of an age difference.
Yeah.
And then the second movie be a Batman/Robin style movie with some stuff happening. Don't bring the Joker in right away.
Yeah, see, they set that up. They set that up pretty good at the end. That with the Joker scene.
Yeah, and they can do the same situation with a Joker-esque style thing. Like he's that villain that Batman just keeps fighting, but we don't get to see it.
Right.
But we want to see it because it's the Joker. Even though the Joker's been used twice already, and we want to see all these other rogues, we still want to see a Batman versus Joker. We just do, right?
Yeah.
So I would like maybe the next the next Batman movie being a sequel. I would like to see it more of a Batman and Robin, but Robin as he is becoming more of a Nightwing style. Like towards like what we didn't see is Batman befriending Robin and all that. And you can do some flashback style. You can do some narrative. I love the film noir aspect. I wish there was a lot more little personal, a lot more little detective style narrative in the background, PI narrative. And you can still do that. You can utilize that narrative to fill in the holes that people who don't know all the story about it.
I think a lot of that was why the movie was so long too. He used a lot of that film noir type style to like build up the scenes, so it did kind of drag a little bit.
It wasn't that drug it on. It was the movie should have ended after they caught the Riddler, instead of trying to make it an Incredibles 2 remake. Like seriously, it was we caught the Riddler and now we're gonna do this whole second, third act. This whole fourth act situation of this unbelievable, this guy has got all this and we're going to flood God. Like, it was just like, this is pointless.
I kind of like that part because it showed that he's not the world's greatest detective yet. He's still coming into it. So he missed something, but he fixed it. And then with the social media and the internet and all the followers he had, things like that, I thought it worked. I liked it.
Storyline-wise, it worked. Film-wise, it drug it out too far. It was literally a fourth act, and you don't want fourth acts. You don't. Lord of the Rings suffered with their whole ending of Return of the King when they did the ending, and that was just having scene after scene after scene. Yeah. That wasn't going and having a whole nother act play out. That was scene after scene after scene. And I think another aspect it was somewhat of a live-action Incredibles 2. This guy is using social media, like you only see him on the screen really, and then when they finally catch him, it's is it him or is it not him? And then there's this whole other act of he's got this whole other plan laid out that makes no sense. Where it makes sense if you dive into it and try to fill in your own blanks and stuff like that. What I'm talking about, what makes no sense is it didn't feel like it took place within the storyline.
Yeah, I mean, they could have gone from the catching the Riddler scene to the cemetery scene at the end with the Catwoman where they kind of drove off. But I think they wanted to kind of make... I like the scene with the whole flooding thing and all that and Batman being accepted and coming together and all that stuff. But, it could have been put somewhere else, yeah.
If they could have taken it and melded it in with the third act, then yes.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, it felt like Dark Knight. Dark Knight had to catch the Joker. Now we've got this whole other act of what happens after the Joker type thing. But the Dark Knight didn't take 5 years to catch the Joker. By the time he caught the Riddler, it was basically the third act of the film.
Yeah.
The end of the third act of the film. Now, as far as just summarizing up real quick, I would like to see a second movie be more of Dick Grayson's already been there. Use film noir style, that detective narration to fill in some gaps and holes because it fits with the narrative of how the first one was made.
Yeah.
And him sort of becoming a Nightwing. And then for the third one, the third film, they can totally attack Death in the Family.
Yeah.
Tease Joker first one, tease Joker second one with really good villains. And then when you come out with the third one, you built up Joker. It's not, oh, this, that. No, you built up that you've got a Joker that's cemented. And then you bring in the new Robin, because by the end of the second one, you've got Nightwing doing it. It'd be almost somewhat like a Nightwing movie in itself. But then by the time you've got the third one come in, then do Death in the Family.
Was it Jason Todd that was next after Dick Grayson? Yeah.
Jason Todd was after Dick Grayson, and he's the one that the Joker killed.
Like, I think they should make in the second one, make the Joker a background character, like reference him but don't really show him, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Well,
like maybe in like a video playback of something, but not like actual character dialogue thing.
Yeah. And I mean, Batman's got so many rogues. It's a shame they've used Two-Face the way they have, because we've had Two-Face show up just like we've had the Joker show up twice. We've had Two-Face show up twice. However, the Joker, we've gotten really good renditions of the Joker both times. I love Jack Nicholson's Joker, and I loved Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
Two-Face, we've only gotten one really good rendition of Harvey Dent Joker.
Right.
Harvey Dent Two-Face. Billy D. Williams played Harvey Dent in Batman. That was awesome. And he was Harvey Dent in Batman Returns, which was awesome. But we never got Billy D. Williams Two-Face. We ended up getting Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face, which was basically Tommy Lee Jones Joker. It felt like the Joker.
I'd like to see, like even Robbie pointed out, I'd like to see a little more with the Scarecrow or even Deathstroke.
Scarecrow would be Deathstroke.
If they did the Scarecrow right.
I've never seen Deathstroke as a Batman villain. Never.
I've seen him here and there in the comic books.
He shows up here and there, but to me,
he's not an actual
Batman's villain. He was only Batman's villain because he was Titan's villain.
Right.
Like Deathstroke was only Batman's villain because he's Titan's villain. And if they played it right and did Nightwing properly in a second film, they could branch out and have a Deathstroke style Nightwing, because that would be amazing.
Yeah.
It would give them the opportunity to branch out from Batman outside of the TV world where they've got Titans with Nightwing and stuff, but it would give them that ability to do it in a film sense. But
I think if they did,
I love how Year 2 was sort of also like a mixture between The Long Halloween.
Yeah, I think it could be, if they did Scarecrow right, that could be really good. If they could do that, or a really good Mr. Freeze, not, pumping iron Freeze,
Well, Penguin's going to come back.
Yeah,
and I loved how they did the Penguin. He obviously isn't the Penguin as we know him in the comics because he's just in his beginnings too.
Right.
But now that his boss is gone, he can rise up to be the Penguin we all know and hate. But I also love how he was intimidating in his own way and showed that he could go toe-to-toe with Batman.
I think right from the way they did this movie, the Batman right now, they could, if they do it right, have a whole DCU, like the MCU.
Yeah, like they were trying to with the Justice League stuff.
Right, and that just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, they've got the ability to do it, and I think the difference between DC and Marvel in how they're going to make a cinematic universe work is DC needs to not focus on trying to make it a cinematic universe. Personally, they just need to focus on having it take place in the modern world, like Marvel did.
Yeah.
And then connect the dots when they feel like it. It would allow them to do so much more.
If they made them as like standalone movies, but they could have the overlap with the characters in there here and there, would be it right there.
Yeah. But to try to do, and that's where DC messed up with their DCEU, is they tried to go, okay, we made Superman, now let's just start making team up movies, and then sprinkle in standalones based on the team ups.
I mean, I kind of like the way that CW did the TV shows with it, but I'm not crazy about how it's all a different universe they keep skipping to. Batwoman is one universe, Batman and Batwoman.
They ended up once.
Yeah, once at the very end of it, it was all one. It all became
one. The only show, with the exception of Black Lightning, and it didn't have any crossover episodes or anything until Crisis.
Right. Then the
only other show that was a different universe was Supergirl.
Yeah.
Batwoman, Flash, all of those were in the same universe.
I thought Batwoman was a different one too.
No, Batwoman was it was all the same universe. Supergirl was the only one that wasn't that universe, and that's because when it originally aired was on CBS. And then so it was its own thing, and the ratings were going down. Ooh, let's bring in Grant Gustin. He plays the Flash. People will watch it. He's got rapport with the actress who plays Supergirl because they were both in Glee together. So let's put them together and do it. And it increased the ratings. CBS made the decision to move it to CW. C stands for CBS and CW. W stands for Warner Brothers. It's those two companies' network.
Yeah.
But they still had to go, okay, well, it's a different universe. Well, when they did Crisis, they destroyed all these universes but allowed for Supergirl to come on. And then, of course, they showed, Doom Patrol's its own universe, which is fine because that's how DC did the comics.
Doom Patrol, Stargirl, all those.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. And I was okay with, them bringing in Supergirl to be... to me, it was a nice cleanup move. It's exactly how they did it in the comics. Things would get crazy. Let's do Crisis and tighten it up.
And how about I'm really digging Superman and Lois. That show. Have you been watching that?
I have not had time to catch up on Superman and Lois at all. My problem is I don't know when they air them on HBO Max. And as far as CWs, we don't have cable. It would be satellite out here.
Well, Superman and Lois is on the free CW app.
Yeah, but by the time I remember it's on there, I try to catch up, and they only keep like 5 episodes at a time.
No, the entirety of season 2 is on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's also working.
Oh, because that's how Robbie caught up. They put the whole
they did
season 2 out. Yeah.
When I went to try to watch it, when I went to try to catch up on it, it was episodes 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, or something like that. And I'm like, but I didn't watch episodes 2 or 3. Where can I find those? And it's like, So,
I saw season 1. Then I'm only on about season 4 of the second season because I've been putting all my effort into the new Star Trek stuff. I've been going. I like Superman and Lois. Taylor, what's his name? Taylor Hoechlin.
Mm-hmm.
That's his name for Superman. I think I liked Lois and Clark when that came out in the 90s. I like Dean Cain. I like Terry Hatcher. I think this Superman and Lois is the comparable 2000s version of the Lois and Clark. I like it. It's really good. I wish, I'm a more single episode kind of guy. I'm not crazy about the season-long story arcs. If there was a season-long story arc, fine, but throw the individual stuff in there too. To kind of make them stand alone a bit. But I like Taylor Hoechlin. I like the fact that they're doing with his son, and stuff like that. And in Smallville.
And here's an interesting thing, right? You mentioned you like Taylor Hoechlin. I think about it, you talk about the DCU. I think it would be freaking awesome to see him and Robert Pattinson team up in a Batman and Superman style.
I still like, out of all of the new Supermen, I still like Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh is amazing. I love James Cavill. I like the guy. I like the cast they've done for Superman in the past 20 years.
Right.
I actually haven't seen. I liked who they got to play all the Superman so far.
I'm not a Cavill fan, but it's okay.
You see, I like Henry Cavill. I think he is an awesome Superman. Do I like Zack Snyder as a filmmaker?
Yeah.
But Henry Cavill is an amazing Superman. However, I don't see Henry Cavill and Robert Pattinson side by side in a Batman Superman style film. I do see a Henry Cavill Ben Affleck Superman Batman, and I wish we could have got something a lot better than what we got. But
I wish we could have got our very own Batman movie.
Yes,
with Ben Affleck.
And then a Batman Superman movie.
Right.
It would have been amazing.
Because I'm all for Batfleck. I like Batfleck.
Like they straight up, instead of jumping from Man of Steel to Batman vs Superman, if they would have brought out a Batman movie that takes place after Man of Steel, with Lex Luthor in it just as a business person, and Bruce Wayne not knowing who Superman is, but Lex Luthor having everyone knowing he's Superman's arch nemesis. A movie like that would have set up for an amazing Batman vs Superman. Having a Man of Steel movie, and then Batman as a sequel, and then the third one be Batman vs Superman would have been amazing.
The one thing I didn't like about those movies, the newer ones, their Lex Luthor, I could not get behind Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
He was way too young to me.
John Cryer was still one of the better Lex Luthors for me. I loved it.
John Cryer was an amazing Lex Luthor. Yes.
Ever since he was Ducky back in the 80s, I still like him,
Lex Luthor's nephew.
Yeah. But yeah, that's... I like him that way, and I liked when they did Crisis with Brandon Routh as the Kingdom Come Superman. I loved it.
I love the fact that, and it isn't just him doing Kingdom Come Superman. The fact that they gave our childhood Superman closure. Kingdom Come Superman is Donner versus Superman.
Right.
That is the closure. That you go back and watch Superman from 1976 or 77 or whatever it was, and then you watch Crisis of Infinite Earths and how Brandon Routh is Kingdom Come. That's where that same character in that universe makes it to.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I think he didn't get a fair shake because I loved him and I liked his Superman in Superman Returns, but I just think that movie itself was done poorly.
And
I think he got a bad script, a bad movie,
78. Thanks, Tia.
Yeah, 78.
I always get that one confused when it came out.
That's older than me.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, Val's like, oh, that's older than me.
Legends. I love Legends. DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Yeah, Tia, that show. I know you say you haven't really gotten into it, but sadly it's coming to an end.
I heard that.
But I really enjoyed that one. I enjoyed all the Arrowverse shows. I mean, they can be monotonous at times. I mean, I wish Netflix would turn around and make it so much easier for people like me who like to binge them sometimes.
Yeah.
I wish Netflix would turn around and just get with Warner Brothers with that and go, okay, or even HBO Max do it. But sit down and do an Arrowverse playlist. To where somebody in the studio sits down and goes, okay, this is how you can watch these shows forward on. So you don't have to sit there and go, okay, I'll watch this. I'll watch this episode of Flash, go back. Okay, now I got to go back out of this one, go into this one, watch this episode of Arrow.
Yeah.
Okay, that one's over. Back out, go watch Supergirl. That one's over. Okay, go back out, go watch DC Legends. And do that exhaustingly so you don't accidentally go, wait, what did I miss? When the team up shows. That
was the one thing. All the different crossovers kind of got me. I'm like,
or when they start throwing in those little hints as what's going on in the other series, which is great for them. I mean, it was great when it was airing. It got people to watch all of it. But when you're going back, it does make it a little annoying because you can watch them in spurts. You can sit down and watch. You can sit down and skip Supergirl season 1 and watch just the episode of Barry Allen. You can.
I mean, honestly, you could.
You can do so much, but I wish they would make that playlist. But
So,
but one last thing I want to say about the Batman.
yeah.
That angered me. Like
Uh-oh.
I was furious in this movie. I loved Robert Pattinson's take on Batman, the way he acted.
Right.
I loved the cast. I loved the acting of all of it. Matt Reeves doesn't need to touch Batman movie. The guy who directed it and helped write it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, don't let him back in Batman. No. First off, Riddler's riddles. Okay, Batman's the greatest detective because he could solve riddles that my 10-year-old could tell me.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And I understand, they were trying to make it more like Lucky Number 7 or this, that. You could make it more like Saw, because honestly, if you're wanting to go with the gritty, scary style thing, the Riddler was more of Saw than he was jokes. His riddles were traps. When he first came into the comics, the Riddler was more of a trapper type thing. They would be these intricate traps that they would have to solve puzzles to get out of, and Batman would have to help solve them to save these people. Like, it could have been so much darker and amazing to do that. Right. Now, again, still, casting of the Riddler was great. I didn't mind the costume. I thought it was pretty cool because it was like the first time he's in there, he doesn't have the confidence. I honestly think that this is something that he could come back, and because everyone knows who he is, he's not having to wear a mask anymore. He could straight up come back and be like, I've got a bowler hat and you guys are going to deal with it. Type thing. Now, I loved all that, like I said, except for the riddles. But what made me angry, what infuriated me, and probably it disconnected me from the film, is I'm sitting here watching this movie about Batman, one of my favorite characters, my favorite DC character, and he's going and he's doing his thing. I mean, he's hitting up the crime scenes. He's working with Gordon. He's narrating a little bit of what's going on. He's doing his whole Batman thing. Oh, he busts in and just tears through the nightclub, and Penguin's right there, and they're doing their little banter, and Selena Kyle walks in, and you can see, oh, wow, yeah, okay, Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle, yeah, come on, Batman, Catwoman. Woo, but he's on a mission. He's trying to find this witness that was apparently doing something with the mayor who was just brutally murdered. All right. Still on mission. Okay, so he gets it. Right. Selena Kyle, see in the picture, her boots. Selena Kyle knows it, so I'm going to follow her. Okay, I'm following her. I'm doing my detective thing. Yeah, I'm here. Oh, there's her apartment. There's my witness. Yeah, it paid out. All I got to do is find out when I can go in and do my investigation. Selena Kyle's arrested. I'm going to sit here.
Yeah, turn him into a peeping Tom.
Yeah, let's sit here. And it wasn't like just like, it was uncomfortable, gritty, breathing.
Yeah, they made him a little creepy in that spot.
And then there's his witness. There's the woman he needs to talk to try to figure out what the hell is going on. And, Selena Kyle left. I got to go chase her because what?
Yes.
And guess what, Bruce? You got the chick killed.
Yeah.
You went off script. You went on your own little peeping Tom chase the cat thing. And now the witness you wanted to talk to, now she's killed.
Yeah, now she's dead.
Now you're going to find her dead in the trunk. That's not Batman. Year 2 Batman. That's not Batman.
Nah.
No, and I understand Batman makes mistakes. The dude literally hung a guy. Granted, it was a mutant style guy, but hung him from the bat plane in the comics. So, Golden Age Batman, he's flying. The corpse is like hanging from the bat plane because it was a monster thing. I think it had to do with the whole doctor. The people are going to get confused, but
What's
this
that?
One takes this. This one takes this. The Dr. Hugo Strange event.
Hugo Strange, yeah.
Where Hugo Strange was doing experiments. I think it came from that storyline in the Golden Silver Age era.
Yeah.
But he's fighting these mutant men, and I guess the whole thing is, they're not real people anymore. And he literally, around the neck, takes off on the bat plane, and it's hanging from the bat plane. Dead.
Yeah.
So,
All right, let's see. How about I did not see the Doctor Strange 2 yet.
and I won't spoil it for you. We'll talk
Well,
about
a
it
lot
another
of people have already done that for me. That's why I really wasn't rushing out to see it because, you know,
Okay,
Robbie already told me the post-credit scene, which I'm a big Bruce Campbell fan, and I'm like, spoilers, but...
Tia, have you watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness?
Rob, you got to do the update on the convention scene. And
Oh, yeah.
Animat and everybody.
Yeah, we did. I've been focusing all on the Star Trek series lately. Discovery, Picard season 2, Strange New Worlds. I'm all down with that. We just did a couple weeks ago. We just did Philly Fan Expo convention, and the ones that took over for Wizard World. We had a table up there, and I got to meet David Tennant, her Doctor Who.
Oh.
So she got to meet him, and she met Jason Mewes.
Who's furious.
He is awesome. That dude. He's like, he reminded me almost of Henry Winkler, because all the other celebrities are like sitting behind their tables, behind these blast shields, just kind of sticking autograph pictures through the little slots.
Yeah.
He was out in front of the table. He's talking to her. Where's your phone? He grabs her phone. He's taking pictures, selfies with her. He signs the autograph, Snoochie to the Noochies and all that stuff with her.
And
she had a good old time.
How he was mad that Kevin Smith didn't show up.
Yeah.
He's like, is he not here yet?
Kevin Smith didn't show up. So
and he kept asking.
He was kind of mad about that because, here's the people from Clerks had this little row of tables, like normal row tables.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith had this big, huge area.
Photo ops, everything.
You could add his whole entourage in there, set all bigger than David Tennant's and all that. Never showed.
And you have to remember, this is hometown crowd.
Yeah,
too,
they were waiting. There were people waiting to see him.
We're Philly, Jersey border,
yeah.
So this is hometown.
William Shatner was sitting next to John Delancey, and I had my Klingon stuff on, so I'm walking by. I'm like, Bill, Yeah. All the next gen guys were there, and some of the Discovery people. Ming Na Wen was there. Fennec Shen, he was there. And we just had a blast.
Oh, I can't wait till everything calms down.
Yeah,
everything's in order and everything's going smooth. I mean, it's been crazy. It's been amazingly hectic this past couple of weeks.
I believe me.
Mother's Day, and
we're still settling into the new house here.
But all right, yeah. I really wish I could get back into the convention side of things. I went free comic book day, went out and got some comics, stuff like that. But Tia did answer our question. She's seen Multiverse of Madness. You said you don't care if we spoil it for you, so fine.
I don't care. I've already heard just about everything.
We're gonna spoil it for you. Multiverse of Madness is effing amazing. It was I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, I didn't.
I mean, everything about it was awesome.
Everybody was telling me that did see it, that spoiling it for me was like, I'm like, and usually I'm not like one of the ones to listen to like the critics and other people. I go and see it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But this time I'm just like, all right, with all the money we're spending on movies lately, I've been going to a lot of movies.
Top Gun,
Robbie already got me tickets for Maverick.
Tia,
for the 27th.
Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, you can't miss that one. The big old sailor that I am,
Oh yeah, no,
I'm
really
waiting
definitely want to see Top Gun. Maverick. Yeah, as you were saying, I wasn't trying to interrupt you. It's just Tia said
that's all right.
Question, so.
What's that?
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I want to know your take on the multiverse being occupied by alternate versions of existing characters. That's what the multiverse is, Tia. That's what the multiverse has been. It's existing characters. Not all the characters are there. Not all the characters aren't there. There could be different actors, just like in Spider-Man No Way Home. We see that situation of different actors. In Loki, we saw that different variants of different styles. You had an alligator Loki. You had the Throg, the where Thor stayed as a frog type thing in the little dish. You had the older Loki because he aged so long. So I mean, you've got the characters. They're being occupied by alternate versions, and it's sort of the thing about the multiverse, and it's what I loved about Doctor Strange. One of the biggest aspects off the bat was, all right, guys, spoilers. All right, one of the biggest things I loved about it was the introduction of a new idea of just a normal everyday thing happening, having extreme significance in the MCU. The the theory and world building confirmation that dreams within the MCU, actually within the MCM, the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, that dreams are actually you connecting with other versions of yourself. So when you're seeing you get hit by a car in your dream, oh my God, it scared you. That happened in a different universe. You're seeing you being successful at a job that you didn't want to, at a different universe. You gave a speech and you weren't wearing pants. Well, you made that mistake in that other universe. I love that aspect, that thought process, because it did two things. One, it opened up for so much more of a mind play to be utilized throughout the MCU, especially when they're doing that style of how they did with Moon Knight TV series, what they did.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that everybody goes, how can Wanda tell the future by giving this vision to Tony Stark in Avengers Age of Ultron, where now it's like, wait a minute, it wasn't a future vision, it was a subconscious dream style thing that Tony perhaps had dreamt about and forgot about that happened in a different universe. And I just loved that aspect, that it was, and that's the thing, it's not so much of a premonition, and again, Tia, like the premonition thing and the deja vu thing, is it opens up to give it more of a, I don't want to say scientific, but if you're looking at a multiversal standpoint, and that being one of the physics of that multiverse, is that when you are dreaming in your subconscious, there is that connection. That you have that deja vu or that premonition, is it's not you telling the future, it's you legitimately experienced it in another universe, and that's helping you make those decisions now. You know, what do you do?
My only problem with the multiverse stuff they have is there were all the different versions of Spider-Man, but we didn't see different versions of Doc Ock and the Sandman, and you know what I mean? There was like only one version of this, for the multiverse, and then there was a whole bunch of Lokis, but there wasn't a whole bunch of the other characters kind of thing.
Well, there's a situation involved in that, and I understand that people do that. They go, oh, yeah, we had all these Loki. We've got all these Spider-Men. We only have one Doc Ock. They only have one Doc Ock, but we've got two Norman Osborns. They just brought one of them in. We've got two Harry Osborns. They just brought, they didn't even bring either of them back.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We haven't seen those characters in the MCU in 636. We've only seen them from their respective universes. Now, a lot of people go, well, Wanda looks the same in all these universes, and Doctor Strange looks the same in all these universes. We only see 3 different Doctor Stranges.
Right.
Well, in Loki, we saw like 7 or 8 or 20 or 30 Lokis that looked the same.
Yeah.
It's 3 that looked the same. We only see 2 Wandas that looked the same. And what it boils down to is, yeah, they look the same, but you also got to look at it on a film standpoint. If you've got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and why did her name just leave me all of a sudden? Elizabeth Olsen. You're not going to go, okay, You're Doctor Strange. You're Wanda Maximoff. You guys have these title roles. However, you're going to go against Doctor Strange and Wanda Maximoff or whatever and these other roles, but they're going to be played by different actors. No. You're the title actor. You're not going to go out and hire more actors to play these characters that you've already got actors to play the characters for that you're already paying. Or, yeah, not Maximoff, sorry.
Maximoff.
It is Maximoff, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny that the guy who plays Vision keeps coming up in the Johnny Depp trial.
Romanoff was Czar a long time ago. Anastasia Romanoff.
Yeah. So,
and Black Widow.
That's what she was saying. Isn't Maximoff Black Widow? And right. I said no, that was Romanoff.
Yeah.
But that's my thing. Is yes, you had these different. You've got different variants, but it's not like you saw 50 different variants of these characters and they were all the same actor. You only saw 2 other variants of Doctor Strange. Well, no, I take that back. 3. There were 3 other variants of 4 Doctor Stranges total, because there was because of a flashback scene. You saw the flashback scene of Illuminati Strange.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hmm.
Okay, so
wasn't
you're in here for the conversation. We only saw.
Sorry, I got in trouble last time I tried to start a conversation.
we only. I'm just messing with you guys. We only saw 3 different Spider-Men, 3 different Peter Parkers, and they were from other films. So if other Peter Parkers are not superheroes, why would their villains?
Here comes the op-ed.
Fight MCU Peter Parker? We would, but we're not going to see those other Peter Parkers. There's no point. If it comes to a point to, then yeah, we'll see them. But we don't. Loki. The reason we saw so many variants of Loki is because so many variants of Lokis were captured by the
Crime Patrol or whatever they were.
Cop things and put away. So you literally saw a Loki prison. So you're going to see all of them.
Yeah.
And it's just, and we all know that there are differences because Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man, but that has Peter Parker in it too. We know Gwen Stacy becomes Spider-Gwen, and because Peter Parker dies the way Gwen Stacy died in the main comics universe. I mean,
yep.
There's so many different aspects there, but I loved the way they brought in America Chavez, and I loved the actress that played her. She was like, I don't know if I've seen her in anything else, and to come in on a huge MCU movie and have the presence she commanded throughout that film, she did an amazing job. Amazing.
Who was she in that? She was Wanda?
No, the character, America Chavez.
Oh, okay.
The one who can I don't know if she fully had those powers in the comics, but in the MCM, the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, she is the only one of her variant, in a sense, that she knows of because she doesn't dream, and she's a universe hopper.
Okay.
Her power, so you could somewhat say she's a mutant that has the ability to open a portal to different universes.
Oh, okay.
And the plot, spoiler, the plot of the film is after the events of WandaVision, Wanda took the Darkhold, and you saw in the end credit scene she's using the Darkhold.
Yeah.
And then hears the voices of her kids. Really? On my live? That's the layer view. Live.
Here comes
across the room. That was great.
Here comes the op-ed.
We will now dub that event as Little John.
Oh my God.
But, alright, after the events of Wanda, we see, I'm just building up a little bit here for you, okay? I'm going to go full out review. spoil it, whatever. You haven't seen it yet. I want to talk about it, and I want your takes on it.
Right.
You've heard these spoilers, but I don't know what they've gotten on it. Now, you got at the end of WandaVision, you got Wanda floating, Scarlet Witch guard, full Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
With Darkhold. So it's like, whoa, like this is where I'm at the end of WandaVision, going, son of a crap, she's Scarlet Witch. Because if you know the comics, Scarlet Witch is not a superhero. Scarlet Witch is a bad guy. She is evil. Evil. Because she was evil. Scarlet Witch was one of the Scarlet Witch has a backstory. Scarlet Witch is, as far as when she's introduced in the comics, she's a Brotherhood of Mutants. She's a huge X-Men villain.
Yeah.
So, it's just...
I know they've been making her an anti-hero type thing lately, but that's about it.
Yeah, but that is Marvel. The X-Men, by the time the X-Men storyline had gotten to a point before the 90s, right before the 90s, Magneto had become an anti-hero. Like, Marvel has always found a way to take a lot of their popular villains and turn them into anti-heroes. It's always done that.
Kind of like wrestling.
That's where I'm sitting there going, oh man, at the end of that. So she's got the Darkhold, which, if you use the Darkhold, it turns you evil. She's in Scarlet Witch garb. I'm like, ooh, where's this going to go? Now, Doctor Strange starts up. You've got this scene going with him and America Chavez. And you're like, what the hell's going on? And they're fighting this weird monster thing. And Strange is like, oh, we need that book over there. And she's just sitting like, oh, and you're sitting there going, go get the damn book. It's right there. And she's like, ah. And then Strange turns around and he utters the words that you just heard him say in No Way Home. Your sacrifice is just the necessity for the greater good of the multiverse type thing. I've got to do what they're trying to do to save the multiverse. And you're like, no, and then he dies, and you're like, ah, and the Strange looks up. You're like, okay, so what's going on here? You haven't found out that when you dream, it's another reality. It's just like, oh. And now it's like, okay, let's follow up with where we're at since the last time you saw the characters of Doctor Strange. Because we know you've seen Doctor Strange like crazy. You know there's been a 5-year gap. But where are we with these characters? Where's his love interest? Where's all this other stuff? And he's going to the wedding. Not his, but it's hers. So you've got that situation. You get this great scene at the end of the wedding where you've got a version of Namor's villain, the one-eyed octopus squid-looking villain. Guard.
I don't remember anything from Namor.
I can't remember that. But you got this thing you don't see it. You just see America Chavez getting chased by it and stuff going. It's nothing. And Doctor Strange standing out there and he pulls out his little red handkerchief out of his pocket. And, it's his cloak. He puts it on and he jumps up and goes down. Like, it's full out. This is awesome. Doctor Strange is being a superhero at this moment. It's no longer just him being like, oh, we can do this, we can do that, we can fight, because he just straight out and jumps right to what's going on. Does some spells, you get some spell casting, you get an amazing fight scene. It was awesome the way it plays out. Then it's, okay, who are you and what are you doing here and what's going on? Wong comes in, they're going, and Strange looks at the situation and goes, this is magic. I need to go talk to Wanda. We know someone who knows magic. But he has no clue what's going on with Wanda. He just knows that something happened in Sunnydale or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
He knows that happened. But he just, it wasn't on his radar. He didn't see it as a necessity to have an issue with it. He was like, you do you, girl. You get better. Type thing. Well, then he shows up and he's talking to her. And you're going based off the previews. You're going based off what's going on. You don't know this thing's coming. And then he's talking, and then they play this little twist on you to where you're just like, wait, what? And she looks at him and goes, why don't you just bring America here? He never told her name. Oh, that's not Wanda. That's Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch wants this character to take the powers of this person who can jump from dimension to dimension, or universe to universe, because she wants to go find her kids. Which is not what really Scarlet Witch is trying to do. Scarlet Witch wants to control the universes, but she's utilizing the fact that Wanda wants to find her kids to take control over Wanda. You know what I'm saying? The really do what you want. It's the manipulation within Wanda's head. So then it's like Strange is like, nope, not gonna happen. Nope, bye. You're nothing. But I mean, we're done. Like, Don't even come after her. Don't come to our place. Whatever. Goes. Wand comes. All these characters, these like comic book characters coming out. You know that from the Doctor Strange comics out there. They're ready to defend. And then here comes Wanda. Oh, good Lord! Imagine the scene in Infinity War when Thanos' army is attacking Wakanda and they just can't get through, right?
Yeah.
It's someone like that, but it's Wanda going, blah, blah, blah. All right. Get to people's minds, I'll get to his mind, boom, gets through. And just have it. Just crazy. Scarlet Witch is insane. And at that point, Strange in America get a portal open, and they multiverse hop because she can't control her powers. She only does it when she's in distress. It's just something she can't control. Hence why I said somewhat of like a mutant, because she's got this ability, but she doesn't know how to harness it properly. And it's boom, 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 and they end up in a universe, and you're like, you saw all this cool stuff, you're sitting there, you're looking for Easter eggs, all these different things. And they end up in this universe, and you're sitting there watching, you're like, okay, this is weird, you know, red means stop, or go, green means stop, you know, different colors. And she's like, oh no, these are free. Some universes you don't have to pay for. And they're little pizza balls, and all of a sudden you hear his voice. Hey, you need to pay for those. And they turn around, and there he is. Bruce Campbell himself. Campbell cameo! And then Strange does a spell, and Campbell's like, arm starts attacking. I'm like, oh, cameo with an Evil Dead reference. This is even, or Evil Dead 2 reference. This is even better. So at that point, you're like full on nostalgia, loving Sam Raimi for everything he's got. And Strange is like, we need to find the other me, because he's already had to fight, or he's already had to hide the body of his dead former self that died trying to kill America while trying to save America, type thing. And now he's going to find his other him, you know, the Strange of that universe. So what do? You go home. He goes home, and then who does he find? He finds Mordo, which we haven't seen since the end of Doctor Strange 1. Well, apparently some stuff has happened between them two that we haven't seen in the regular universe. But Mordo's all like, oh, friend, and Strange is like, I don't think so. But they're going, and he ends up drugging him, and America wakes up in a force field type cell-looking thing, and there's Strange's love, and you know, the Doctor he was in love with, and they'll be like, we're trying to figure out what's going on because you're hopping multiverses and it's not right. Yeah, everybody wanted to get back to their home. But it's just you're not right. And Strange is like, well, they got Strange in shackles, and it's got a device which they did amazing with bringing in comic aspects, bringing in aspects from Strange 1, little things that if you go back and watch the first Doctor Strange movie, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And then you're sitting there, and there's the Illuminati, and they do this, and they do that. And all of a sudden, boom, Mr. Fantastic teleports in, and Mr. Fantastic, whatever. And it's John Krasinski from The Office. It's who we want to play Mr. Fantastic. Is Mr. Fantastic. It's like, this is awesome. And then you've got the guy from the Inhumans, Black Bolt or whatever, from the Inhumans TV show, reprising his character. So you got the Inhumans in there. And then then Captain Carter comes in. And you're like, yeah, haha, here we go. It's a universe similar to where Peggy became Captain America and not Steve Rogers. You know? and then Maria Rambeau comes in as Captain Marvel. So it was Captain Marvel's best friend.
Yeah.
That got attacked, that got the radiation, and not Captain Marvel. I can't remember. Carol Danvers. So you've got this, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there watching, all of a sudden, and it's like, oh my god! Yellow hover chair comes in, Patrick Stewart, Charles Xavier, but 1990s X-Men cartoon style. Oh, it was amazing. And they have their little banter, and he's like, you don't want to fight Wanda. And they're like, we can handle Wanda. They got a Wanda in their universe. They do. They're like, we can handle Wanda. They got a Wanda in their universe, not a Scarlet Witch. They don't understand who the Scarlet Witch is.
Right.
They talk about how they don't trust Doctor Strange because their Doctor Strange utilized the Darkhold to defeat Thanos. And utilizing the Darkhold turned him evil, and they had to kill him. Well, they go out there, and this battle ensues, and Wanda just tears them all up. And you get Xavier in his yellow chair, puts his hand up, and brainwaves, woo, 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 woo. And it's just like nerding out like crazy, man. Just like, oh, amazing. And and they're alternate universe characters, so it doesn't really matter what happens to them. And Scarlet Witch is a badass, so yeah, she gonna kill them all, and that's fine because we don't care about these random universe characters because they're random universe characters, but we still love the nostalgia,
Yeah, right.
So they do that, and she's killing it because she is using the Darkhold to dreamwalk and possess her other universe's body. So it's just so much that is unfolding and twisting. And while she's doing that, she's trying to, the Darkhold has gotten destroyed, but the book itself, one of Wong's, I think Wong's, in the comics, she's Wong's girlfriend, destroyed the Darkhold, but it killed her. And you're like, no, we just got her in the MCU, and now she's dead. But so Wanda's like, no, I want the Stronghold. Well, it's like, if you know the comics, you know the book is just a spell book. The actual Darkhold is the place where the demon scribed and put the magic into what it is, and foretold about the Scarlet Witch and how the Scarlet, all this stuff, and how the Scarlet Witch is really just a vessel for him. It's supposed to take over the person for so long to where it becomes that, and then he possesses the vessel and becomes both. But they don't go into that because they don't need to. That's just how it is. When Xavier's in Wanda's mind, it shows him in the mind. He walks in. Wanda is inside of a little cave thing. She's trapped. And she's like, help me. And he's like, yeah, you're trapped. I was like, I help you get out. Maybe we can fight Scarlet Witch. And this cloud comes through, and here's this evil-looking Scarlet Witch just flying through, and just grabs Xavier, snaps his neck. And then it shows to the real world, he's just dead in his hover chair. It's like, ha, you died again.
Man.
Like, darn. But it was great, because we got to see Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier one more time in the MCU. We have mutants in the MCU. 100%, no ifs or ands about it. Mutants are in the MCU. Or MCM, multiverse, whatever, however you want to say it. So at this point now, it's strange. This other universe's nurse, doctor, whatever, his love interest that he had in the original, and America, running from Wanda. Strange is no match against against Scarlet Witch. He's not. The entirety of his magician people couldn't take long type stuff. And it's just straight scary movie style thing, chasing them through I guess, aqueduct type, subway type tunnels, and him using magic to try to close doors, and everything to keep her back, and it's just like they get to a point where they're kind of cornered, and it's like, and I mean, just beautifully done, jump scare type stuff, just amazing. And then of course, America finally freaks out and opens another portal, and they go through again. Well, now they're in a world that has a convergence. For anybody who's read the comics understands a convergence is when two universes collide. You know the DC convergence. Marvel has convergences too. So now Strange is in this world. Strange, America, and the Doctor. I never can remember her name. Now they're in this world that's two universes destroyed. But Strange's house is there. And he goes in, and it's another Strange that used the Darkhold. And it's like, again, who do you trust? You can't trust yourself because you know that you know what you will do. You know that if it's for the betterment, if it's what you think is the right thing, you will hand Thanos a time stone.
Yeah.
To kill half the living creatures in the galaxy, in the universe, because you feel that things are going to turn out okay. You know what I'm saying? You know that you will tell Spider-Man that it's for the betterment of the multiverse that these guys die. And you know that when this other version of you that you saw in your dream was going to do the same thing to America. And you know that this other, who do you trust? Do you even trust yourself? What are you going to do when you're put in the trial? What are you going to do when it's your time to make tough decisions? So now he's in there, and now you got this evil Strange. It's all like, aha. So he has to fight him. Finds a way to try to get to the book. Wong's doing his thing in the 636 universe to try to stop Scarlet Witch, who's going over. And at that point, Strange goes, it is what it is. I've got to use the Darkhold. So he uses the Darkhold. He utilizes the Darkhold because he's in a different universe. That Darkhold hasn't been destroyed. It's just the book in 636. To dreamwalk. They call it dreamwalking or whatever. To dreamwalk into the corpse of the Strange that died in the beginning of the film.
Oh, jeez.
Because when America, the portal went through, her and that Strange's body landed in that film while that octopus one-eyed thing was going after him. So now you've got this zombie-looking Strange, and just souls, like, because now he's not only dreamwalking across universes, he's defiling the dead. So you've got the whole dead side of it. You got the whole underworld side of it coming into it. You've got these souls or demons or something coming up, trying to stop him, going after America and the Doctor Lady, all in all this thing. And somebody tells Strange, I think it's, she goes, use it. And he just sort of like grabs them all and becomes this freaking, in the trailer you see him, he's doing this and he's got all the dark things and everybody's all like, oh, that's Demon Strange or Nightmare or whatever. No, that's Doctor Strange possessing a freaking dead Doctor Strange. To go up and have this battle against Scarlet Witch, which he can now have because he's utilizing the Darkhold. But he's still losing. And it's just, then the trial happens. He has to make a decision. But up to this point, all his decisions he's made, what's he going to do? The guy, he used the Darkhold. Even though it's for good, he still used it. Then he's already shown that the betterment of the multiverse is better than one. And he goes up, and it's like, and even Wong goes, you've got to do it. You've got to take her power. You've got to kill America Chavez so Scarlet Witch doesn't get her powers. And he goes up to her, and she, in heartbreakingly dialogue, she looks at him and she goes, because they're losing. Scarlet Witch is kicking their ass. She looks at him and goes, I'm ready. He hasn't even said anything. He just shows up there, and she goes, "Come on, you have to do it. You have to." So at the beginning, where she's like, "No, don't kill me." Now everything's happened. She's at the point where she's like, "Yes, I understand. I have to die to save everything." It's almost right back there in No Way Home, where Peter's like, "Do it, do it, Mr. Str- make everyone forget me to save everything." And he looks at her and he goes, "You don't have to. You've got this." Not in a cheesy, corny, pep talky way, but in a situation where he goes, "Every place, you don't understand it, but every place you took us to, you needed to take us to. It has led us to this moment where you can defeat her." And then she finally just clicks, is able to, get the confidence and understand that subconsciously she was using her powers properly. She was able to go where she needed to go. And in turn, was able to utilize Wanda's side of the Scarlet Witch to defeat the Scarlet Witch. Wanda's able to come back, destroys the Darkhold altogether, destroys it in all of the multiverse. Wanda does or doesn't die, we don't know. It's off screen, so we have no clue. But at the same time, Strange still used the Darkhold.
Yeah.
So what is going to happen to him? He gets up. It's like, okay, another day. He's doing fine. He goes across the street, and all of a sudden he just starts screaming, holding his head, falls down to the ground, stands up, and he's got a third eye. And it's like, oh no, because when he fought Evil Strange in the Convergence world, that Strange had a third eye from using the Darkhold.
Yeah.
There's a price to pay. And in the comics, anytime Strange used the Eye of Agamotto, he actually got a third eye on his forehead.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like utilizing that. And then it's okay, show some credits, or I don't know if it was show credits, if it happened right before the credits or if it was mid credits. I'm foggy on the I don't know the actual series of events that would have happened. But then Strange is standing there, and then boom, something's going on, and there's a convergence going on, and then Charlize Theron pops out in purple garb. And it's like, Strange, you broke the universe. You caused the convergence. You're going to help me fix it. And he looks and goes, third eye opens up and goes, let's go. Because at that point, you're like, okay, he's got control of his power. The Darkhold didn't completely, totally turn him evil. He's utilizing what the third eye can give him. And anyone who knows the comics knows who she is.
Mm-hmm.
She is Dormammu's daughter, Doctor Strange's future wife. She is his real love interest. She is amazing. And the fact that it's Charlize Theron, you're like, yes. And then you watch and watch and watch. And then you got Bruce Campbell. It's finally over. Or it's over. And then cuts. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. I loved it. I don't understand why anybody could go, because it was great. It had aspects. It had fanfare. It had nostalgia. It had an amazing storyline, amazing acting, amazing directing. The score by Danny Elfman was beautiful, and it had so many comic book. You could tell that it was a comic book movie. You could tell which comic book was based on.
Yeah.
All right. Now that I just went through and described the entire movie for everybody who watched this,
that's all right.
If I ruined it for you, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's 12:30 here for me, so.
All right. We'll have to pick it up next Thursday. Hopefully, it'll be 8 o'clock next Thursday, guys.
We can do more on the trial next week too.
Yes, more on the trial next week, and we'll do a huge recap after as it goes down the road. We're going to get into Strange New Worlds. I didn't watch this week's episode. I'll watch next week's episode. We'll talk more on Picard. I think next week will probably be more of a Star Trek. This was a good comic book one.
Mm-hmm.
So next week will be more of a Star Trek. Next, well, hold on. I gotta check something real quick. Yeah, next Thursday's fine. Pretty sure it's 40.
I'm good.
But yeah, so it'll be more. It's right before. Or no.
The 27th is Maverick. I know that.
Yeah, but is it the 26th or 27th when Obi-Wan comes out?
27th.
27th. Okay. Bring Obi-Wan on a Friday?
Yeah.
All right. That's fine. Gives us a chance to catch up on the Star Trek side of things.
Yeah.
And talk some more depth. And then we ain't doing Bridget and Tia. I don't watch Bridgerton. That boring to me.
I haven't seen that one. You know which one I wanted to see more of? Was Penny Dreadful. When they stopped that after that third.
I haven't watched that one yet. I want to, but I haven't started it because I know that it should have more and it doesn't, and I don't want to run into a situation like Carnival Row, where I'm like, where in the heck is the second season of Carnival Row? It is driving me insane.
The one thing about Penny Dreadful is they left it. It ended. It could have gone either way, so it didn't leave you like, okay, where's the next season? Crap, you know.
Oh, it still does that. I mean, look at what was the one, The Expanse.
Yeah.
It ended. It's over. There is no more, but it still left the ability for them to. And I'm like, I still want more Expanse.
Right.
I'm like, I know it's coming to an end. I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss out on it. Plus, time's a big one. But yeah, guys, it's 11:35 here. It's 12:35 with pizza is. We're gonna go ahead and call it a night. So we're happy to be back. We're so grateful for you guys to be here. Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, get everybody you want. We're going. We're good. And as always, live long and prosper. This is the way.
This is the way. Hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that like button.
Nerdsters out.